Hi everyone, I am Vinis Marmidi Tumulak from Group 3 under the subject of ethics. My topic is all about justice, type of justice, surrogates motherhood, drug addiction. Justice is the fair and impartial treatment of individuals based on the principles of equality and righteousness. Equals should be treated equally and unequals unequally by Aristotle. Justice is a concept that encompasses the moral and ethical standards by which individuals are treated fairly and equitably. It involves the just distribution of rights, resources, and opportunities. It seeks to uphold the principles of equality, fairness, and righteousness in resolving conflicts, protecting rights, and promoting harmony within a community or society. So, the most fundamental principle of justice, one that has been widely accepted since it was first defined by Aristotle more than 2,000 years ago, is the principle that equals should be treated equally and unequals unequally. In its contemporary form, this principle is sometimes expressed as follows: individuals should be treated the same unless they differ in ways that are relevant to the situation in which they are involved. For example, if Jack and Jill both do the same work and there are no relevant differences between them or the work they are doing, then in justice, they should be paid the same wages. And if Jack is paid more than Jill simply because he is a man or because he is white, then we have an injustice, a form of discrimination because race and sex are not relevant to normal work situations. So, next, the types of justice. The first one is the distributive justice. Distributive justice, also known as economic justice, is about fairness in what people receive from goods to attention. Its roots are in social order and it is at the roots of socialism where equality is a fundamental principle. If people do not think that they are getting their fair share of something, they will seek first to gain what they believe they deserve. They may well also seek other forms of justice. The next one is the procedural justice. Procedural justice, the principle of fairness, is also found in the idea of fair play, as opposed to the fair share of distributive justice. If people believe that a fair process was used in deciding what it to be distributed, then they may well accept an imbalance in what they receive in comparison to others. If they see both procedural and distributive injustice, they will likely seek restorative and or retributive justice. The third one is the restorative justice. The first thing that the betrayed person may seek from the betrayer is some form of restitution, putting things back as they should be. The simplest form of restitution is a straightforward apology. Restoration means putting things back as they were. So it may include some act of contrition to demonstrate one is truly sorry. This may include action and even extra payment to the offended party. Restorative justice is also known as corrective justice. Then the fourth one is the retributive justice. Retributive justice works on the principle of punishment. Although what constitutes fair and proportional punishment is widely debated, while the intent may be to dissuade the perpetrator or others from future wrongdoing, the reoffending rate of many criminals indicates the limited success of this approach. Punishment in practice is more about the satisfaction of victims and those who care about them. This strays into the realm of revenge, which can be many times more severe than reparation, as the hurt party seeks to make the other person suffer in return. In such cases, justice is typically defined emotionally rather than with the intent for fairness or prevention. So, the next topic is all about surrogate motherhood. So, when we say surrogate motherhood, a surrogate mother is a woman who, for financial or other reasons, agrees to bear a child for another woman who is incapable to conceive herself. In other words, she is a substitute mother that conceives, gestates, and delivers a baby on behalf of another woman who is subsequently to be seen as the real, social, and legal mother of the child. So, a surrogate mother is a woman who, for financial reasons, agrees. So, siya ang kanang bali kuan sa mother na siya pagkadako sa bata siya ang nailhan nga mother sa bata. Through the practice of surrogacy has already become a big market in Western countries. It has also generated countless challenges for the law because it adds a third dimension to the meaning of motherhood, like adoption, surrogacy, separates the role of rearing mother from what the law has called the natural mother, but gestational surrogacy breaks the latter down into the roles of genetic mother and birth mother, leaving two women with biological connections to the child because surrogacy tends to commodify and dehumanize people, and because of all its legal, social, and psychological complications, it is obviously not wise to accept surrogacy as an alternative way of procreation. So, whose sperm is with surrogate? Whose sperm is with surrogate? A traditional surrogate is an arrangement where a pregnancy is carried by a woman who is also the egg donor. She can conceive as a result of IUI or IVF. Using the biological father's sperm, the child is intended to be raised by its biological father and his partner. So, why do people use surrogacy? A surrogacy arrangement may be considered if a woman is unable to become pregnant or carry a pregnancy because she has had a hysterectomy or is missing part of his uterus, ovaries, or other parts of the genital tract. A woman has a health condition that makes pregnancy dangerous. So, ang mga kasagaran ang maggamit or mo commit og surrogacy kay ang mga mother nga naa sila mga health condition or nga makamake sa ilang pregnancy nga maka-harm or dangerous. So the next topic is all about drug addiction. Drug addiction, also called a substance use disorder, is a disease that affects a person's brain and behavior and leads to an inability to control the use of a legal or illegal drug or medicine. Substances such as alcohol, marijuana, and nicotine also are considered drugs. Staging an intervention, people struggling with addiction usually deny they have a problem and hesitate to seek treatment. So, an intervention presents a loved one with a structured opportunity to make changes get before things get even worse, and can motivate someone to seek or accept help. So it's important to plan an intervention carefully. It may be done by family and friends, in consultation with a healthcare provider or mental health professional such as a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, or directed by an intervention professional. It involves family and friends and sometimes co-workers, clergy, or others who care about the person struggling with addiction. During the intervention, these people gather together to have a direct heart-to-heart conversation with the person about the consequences of addiction. They ask the person to accept treatment. So, what are the causes of drug addiction? So, like many mental health disorders, several factors may contribute to development of drug addiction. The main factors. The main factors or the causes of drug addiction are. The main factors or the causes of drug addiction is number one is environmental factors, including your family's beliefs and attitudes, and exposure to a peer group that encourages drug use seem to play a role in initial drug use. So, ang environment, ang number one. Then the next one is the genetics. So, once you've started using a drug, the development into addiction may be influenced by inherited genetic traits, which may delay or speed up the disease progression. So, number two is the genetics. Then the next one is how to prevent drug addiction. So, saan na to pag-prevent ang drugs? The best way to prevent an addiction to a drug is not to take the drug at all. If your healthcare provider prescribes a drug with the potential for addiction, use care when taking the drug and follow instructions. Healthcare providers should prescribe these medicines at safe doses and amounts and monitor their use so that you're not given too great a dose or for too long a time. If you feel you need to take more than the prescribed dose of a medicine, talk to your healthcare provider. Then these are the steps or to prevent drug misuse. Preventing drug misuse in children and teenagers. Take these steps to help prevent drug misuse in your children and teenagers. Number one is to communicate. Talk to your children about the risk of drug use and misuse. Number two is listen. Be a good listener when your children talk about peer pressure and be supportive of their efforts to resist it. The third one is set a good example. Don't misuse alcohol or addictive drugs. Children of parents who misuse drugs are a greater risk of drug addiction. So, so that's it for today. That's all my report. I hope you have learned. Thank you for listening.